Barcelona with an unbelievable comeback. Now, based on this game alone, solely based on this game, there are a lot of talking points to discuss, which I will here today. But the main point is that Barca got the job done at a tough away ground, and they managed to stay at top of the table of La Liga now with a game in hand. But if you take a look at the game overall, which we'll do here right now. So Barca started with Chesney, of course, Balde, Inigo Martinez, Kubarsi back in the starting lineup, Koundé, Pedri, Casado in for De Jong, who happened to be, I guess, ill for this game, Rafinha, Olmo, Yamal, and Lewandowski. Pretty textbook stuff. And then Atletico Madrid opted for Oblak, Llorente, Lenormand, Langley, Reinildo, Giuliano Simeone, De Paul, Barrios, Lino, Griezmann, and Alvarez. And by the way, we have to reiterate here that Atletico Madrid played 120 minutes and the penalty shootout against Madrid in a UCL round of 16 second leg. So that's going to be important to note for the performance of Barca yesterday. But I think overall I'm not too happy with the performance. Yes, the overall moral of the story is that Barca went to a tough away ground. This is the first time this season they play Atleti away. They played against them at home twice this season, and both times they failed to win, even though both games Barca was, dominant. Both of those games, Barca deserved to win by at least 2 goals, and I actually think both of those games are some of Barca's best performances this season. This game, however, what I think was one of Barca's more chaotic performances. It wasn't really the most controlled. I don't think it was one of Barca's best performances. And as the game got on more and more, it just became more and more sloppy, more and more chaotic. And it's interesting because you talk about that being the case for this game, but this happened to also be the only game against Atletico Madrid that Barca won this season. And I think the main aspect of that is how Hansi Flick has changed the mentality of this team. I mean, going into the season, how many games would you have trusted Barcelona to win against big teams? Whether it was, an early red card against Benfica away in the UCL knockout stage, whether it was, going down 2 goals against Atleti away. I mean, Atleti up until yesterday's game. Let's go on Twitter real quick. Up until yesterday's game, Atleti had never lost a game at home while leading by 2 goals. Or I think it was actually in general, not just at home. Let's take a look over here, and if I could find the tweet, if I could find the stat. I don't see it here. Let me see if I could remove this word here. But overall, the point is that Atletico Madrid have never lost by 2 goals as an advantage. Now, whether that's at home or away, it's whatever. The point is that Barca changed history with this win yesterday. And, the game started, and it was an early case of Barcelona dominating the game. And I mean dominating. Atletico Madrid did not touch the ball. I think in the first 10 minutes, Barca just had them pinned back completely. And then there was a big chance for Yamal, who, fair enough, he did very well to even create the chance. I mean, he got past players in a tight space. He found Olmo. He made the correct run, and Olmo managed to find him, which he took a nice touch, but he just couldn't put it in the back of the net. Those are the shots that have to go in the back of the net. The position of it, the actual view of the goal from the angle he was at. Those are the shots that have to go in. But overall, Yamal, he produces too much to be mad at him for missing these chances. But in general, up until Barca began the comeback in the 75th minute, Barca's biggest enemy of this game was missing chances. And I think the biggest culprit of that was, yes, of course, it was Yamal, who missed 2 or 3 chances before the comeback. But it was Lewandowski. Because when you're Lewandowski and your primary role is to score the goals because you offer very little outside of scoring the goals or outside of the penalty area, score the goals. I mean, you had that chance right before halftime where Pedri found him. I mean, unbelievable pass from Pedri to find Lewandowski in that space in such a congested area of the pitch. I mean, Pedri did well to find him. Lewandowski, opened up the space. It wasn't the best of touches, and it was just a very poor finish from Lewandowski. And these are the chances that you cannot miss. And you cannot cut Lewandowski the slack as much as Yamal for these chances because this is his primary job. And not only is it his primary job, but he doesn't do too much outside of it. So if you're going to have this chance, put it in the back of the net. overall, Lewandowski was very poor. I mean, other than the goal he scored to kickstart the comeback, there's no other touch you could actually take a look at from Lewandowski. What did he have? 31 touches. So he has that one touch for the goal, and about 25 of the other touches you have to you look at, and you're like, wow, is this guy a professional footballer? Because they just provided nothing. They weren't good touches. They didn't hold up the play at all. There was just nothing that came out of it from him being involved. And at this point, I've advocated it for a while. Alexander Isak needs to be signed. If not, I guess try to go for Alvarez. But Barcelona need a good young long-term striker, because Lewandowski's been past it, and Barca cannot continue, playing the big games, missing this amount of chances with this much of a liability up top. Other than that, so Lewandowski misses a chance, and Atleti counter right before halftime, sucker punch, Alvarez goal, 1-0, and there wasn't too much Barca could do on that. It was just a good counterattack from Atleti. Atleti this year, they're a better team than they were in the past couple of years. They have a resemblance about them about that 2016, 2017 era where they were a really serious team. And they've proven it this season. I know they've lost these two big games this week now, but based on how they've played, they're very strong this season. I think Inigo did very well for that assist for Lewandowski. I mean, he got past two players as a center back, found the ball into him, and Lewandowski did the hard work of controlling it and finishing it first time with his weak foot. But overall, that's what started the comeback, and this is where Barca's mentality kicked in. And even Rafinha, who didn't have the best of games, he didn't just stay on the left wing, isolate himself. He was constantly looking for a place to be on the pitch where he can impact the game. And as the game got on in the second half, he moved to the right wing. He combined with Yamal a lot on the right wing, and it was just basically Balde on the left flank carrying it by himself, who, by the way, Balde did very well to actually, cover the left flank, because Simeone, he is no joke. I mean, he is rapid, he is aggressive, he is just passionate, and he is all over the pitch, especially on that right-hand side, up and down. Listen, he is everywhere, and Balde did very well to go toe-to-toe with him for the whole game. The other fullback, Koundé, I'm going to talk about him more after. But yeah, Rafinha did well to go over there on the right side, change his position mid-game and adjust to help the team. Ferran Torres off the bench, I mean, this is his best role. Starting, he hasn't proven to be that guy. It took a change, but off the bench is his best role. I mean, he found the space for that first goal. Finding that space for his first goal, finding that space in the box of Atletico Madrid when they're defending a lead by one goal is no joke. He did unbelievable work there with the movement to find that space. Rafinha with a great ball in to find him, and it was just a bullet header that Oblak could never save. And at that point, it was 2-2, and Barca were back in the game with a winning opportunity, and it was just a great goal from Barcelona with Ferran Torres. At first I thought Hansi Flick actually made the incorrect subs, because he put on Eric Garcia, he put on Ferran Torres, and for the first 10 to 15 minutes, Ferran Torres, he didn't have a touch on the ball. So I thought it was like, it's going to be one of these games, the subs are not going to have too much of an impact. And for the second goal that Atleti scored with Sorloth, it was Eric Garcia who came in for Casado, where Eric received the ball, in this area of the pitch. He was very, very slow, lackadaisical, not attentive to the pressure. He lost the ball, and at that point, it was just an instant counterattack from Atleti. Once again, that's how they play, and 2-0. And after that, like I said, it was 2-2 with the goals from Lewandowski and Ferran. And overall, just a very chaotic game. I mean, Barca didn't have the control. Pedri didn't play bad by any stretch of the imagination, but it wasn't one of Pedri's best games. He didn't have the control that he usually does. He didn't orchestrate everything like he usually does, but it was still everywhere. And this is the thing with Pedri, whether or not he plays out of his mind for a game, he's never going to give you a bad performance. He's always going to have a certain level that he's going to play at, and he's never going to be a liability. He's always going to be an asset for this team, and that's just the quality of this player. Overall, I got the assist for the third goal, which just came from Barcelona continuing to press. I mean, Pedri found Lamine. Lamine cut inside, took a shot, lucky deflection, and it went in. Now, yes, it was a lucky deflection, but I think if any players deserve a lucky deflection, in the world currently, it's Lamine, because he hasn't scored a La Liga goal before this one for 5 months. The media started, going after him for it, And the way he plays, he deserves to have the goals. Yes, his finishing might not be the best, but he creates so much that he puts his teammates in so many tap-in opportunities that for him to get a lucky goal like this off a deflection at some point, fair enough. It's not an everyday occurrence. It's not in every game. He gets lucky off a bounce or something, but that's how it ended up for him. Great goal to make it 3-2. And at that point, Atleti had to start pushing up. Atleti started pushing up, and when they do that against a team like Barcelona that's good at pressure, they're not the best because they're not a team with the most control. Of course, the Paul and Barrios are great midfielders, but they're not going to have the control against the midfield with Pedri and Olmo. It's just not going to happen. And then Barca put the pressure on in the back line of Atleti. They're trying to build up. Barca with immense pressure with Ferran Torres, Lewandowski, Rafinha, Yamal, whoever was there. They win the ball. Ferran wins the ball. Does great to drive up and just a great finish against Oblak. And it was 4-2 GG. And it was game over for Atleti. And then Barca with the 3 points. And just a massive win that just needed to get the job done. Overall, this game in the history books won't be written as a Barca domination performance, but it will be written as a game where Barcelona just needed to get the job done at all costs, and they did. But what I want to really talk about this game was Koundé. Now, over here, Koundé has a 7.2 rating, which I don't think it's warranted at all. I think it's one of the games where he's lacked focus. I think the issue with Koundé is that he isn't the best decision maker when it comes to defending. That second goal that Barca conceded by Sorloth, Koundé was I can't show the clips here. It's a shame because of the copyright, but I can't show the clips. But Koundé made a bad decision to go for the header, go for the aerial duel that he lost, that he was always going to lose because he was too far away from the actual ball and who headed it for him to actually have a chance at winning it. So he lost his position, and Atleti had unbelievable space to counterattack on the left flank, which they did and which they capitalized on. It was a result of Koundé not being the most focused, and in general across the game, he was losing his man. He wasn't positioned well numerous times, and Jules Koundé, he isn't the most devastating attacking fullback. I mean, you have attacking fullbacks like Balde, for example, Trent Alexander-Arnold. You have fullbacks that can drive up, put a good ball in, or get past players, or take a good shot. That's not Koundé. He's gonna do well for Barca, linking up on the flank, pushing up, making the runs up, and maybe providing a good pass here or there. But his main thing is defending, and I think the issue with him is that even defensively, with that being his main thing, he isn't always the most focused, and I think it's not gonna. I think he needs to become more focused and just improve his decision making when going for those aerial duels, when seeing where he is on the pitch and who's around him, because it can cause Barca, especially in the big games where the UCL is a game of moments, where the next game versus Atleti in the Copa del Rey semi-final away again is going to be once again a game of moments. I'm expecting it to be a trampoline game again, and once again we talk about the way that Barca played this game. All 3 games, including the Dortmund away game in the group stage and the Benfica away game in the group stage of the UCL, they're really trampoline matches. Barca didn't have too much control, and they were just back and forth, back and forth, back and forth, and the team with the most devastating attackers won. And that's been the case with Barca versus Atleti for at least 2 of the 3 games this season, except maybe that first game where Barca dominated the game for 80 minutes, and then Atleti scored just 2 goals purely off the counterattack. You have the last game they played against Atleti at home in the Copa del Rey. That wasn't as dominated by Barcelona, but it was mostly dominated from Barcelona. The first 10 minutes and the last 10 minutes were kind of Atletico Madrid. The middle part of the game was Barca. But this one yesterday was just complete trampoline football, back and forth, back and forth. No team really had too much control, for long periods of time. And listen, that's not the type of game I like to watch. I like to watch a team dominating. I've supported Barcelona. I have these shirts on my wall in the back because the players that played here, Xavi, Messi, Iniesta, who were there, they always controlled the game. Whether it was Chelsea, whether it was Real Madrid, whether it was a lower level La Liga team, whether it was Inter Milan, United, Barcelona controlled the game, dominated the game, and they didn't let teams have the ball, and they won off that. That's the way I like to watch this sport. I like pure domination, but sometimes, with a manager like Hansi Flick, a super high line, high pressing, aggressive trampoline football, these games will happen, especially against a team like Atletico Madrid, sit back and counter. But the main point is they got the job done. Now the players go on an international break. It's a shame that Inigo Martinez is going to be injured for now 2 to 3 weeks because he got into form again. And I think Casado now. Let's go on Twitter real quick. I think Casado's out for the season, unfortunately, with a ligament tear in his knee. It's a shame because you know him and Frankie are going to be are two very important players. I think Pedri's the set in stone starter in that left pivot position, but on the right side, it comes down to who Hansi Flick needs for whatever game he is needed. Whether he uses Frankie, whether he uses Casado, they're both very important players. And with Bernal out as well, now Barca only really have Pedri and De Jong in the pivot positions with a makeshift pivot in Eric Garcia. So yeah, bad news for Barcelona as Casado has suffered a knee ligament tear. The midfielder won't be part of Spain squad, and he could be out for 2 months. Now, there's reports saying that he doesn't need surgery, so he can return back quicker. But if it was up to me, I would have him do the surgery because there's been a history of Barca players not getting surgery, playing through the pain, or just returning, just naturally healing, but not being at the same level. We talk about Umtiti back in the day. He was one of the best defenders in the world. He was on track to become one of the best center backs in the world. He played that World Cup. He didn't get surgery. He opted to return naturally, and we all know the way his career went. So yeah, overall, 2 injuries for Barcelona. Hopefully they come back soon and stronger than they were before. But it's going to be important for Hansi Flick to now rotate the squad, and hopefully no more injuries, because any injuries now on from with these games coming up with the UCL knockout stage, with the just all these games are must-win games now. With any injuries that happen now, it's going to be a shame to have any more than this. But yeah, let me know what you guys think. Barca got the job done. I mean, this is exactly what they needed to do, and it's exactly why they're contenders for every trophy this season. So yeah, let me know what you guys think, and I will see you in the next video.